In Alcala by P G Wodehouse. In Alcala, as in most of New York's apartment houses, the schedule of prices is like a badly rolled cigarette, thick in the middle and thin at both ends. The rooms halfway up are expensive, some of them almost as expensive as if fashion, instead of being gone forever, were still lingering. The top rooms are cheap, the ground floor rooms cheaper still. Cheapest of all was the whole bedroom. Its furniture was of the simplest. It consisted of a chair, another chair, a worn carpet, and a folding. The folding had an air of depression and baffled hopes. For years it had been trying to look like a bookcase in the daytime, and now it looked more like a folding than ever. There was also a plain deal table, much stained with ink. At this night after night, sometimes far into the morning, Rutherford Maxwell would sit and write stories now, and then it happened that one would be a good story and find a market. Rutherford Maxwell was an Englishman and the younger son of an Englishman, and his lot was the lot of the younger sons all the world over. He was by profession one of the numerous employees of the New Asiatic Bank, which has its branches all over the world. It is a sound, trustworthy institution, and steadygoing relatives would assure Rutherford that he was lucky to have got a berth in it. Rutherford did not agree with them, however sound and trustworthy. It was not exactly romantic, nor did it err on the side of over-lavishness to those who served it. Rutherford's salary was small, so were his prospects if he remained in the bank at a very early date. He had registered a vow that he would not, and the road that led out of it for him was the uphill road of literature. He was thankful for small Mercy's fate had not been overkind up to the present, but at least she had dispatched him to New York, the center of things, where he would have the chance to try, instead of to some spot off the map. Whether he won or lost, at any rate he was in the ring, and could fight. So every night he sat in Alcala and wrote. Sometimes he would only try to write, and that was torture. There is never an hour of the day or night when Alcala is wholly asleep. The middle of the house is a sort of chorus girl belt, while in the upper rooms there are reporters and other nightbirds. Long after he had gone to bed, Rutherford would hear footsteps passing his door and the sound of voices in the passage. He grew to welcome them. They seemed to connect him with the outer world, but for them he was alone. After he had left the office, utterly alone, as it is possible to be only in the heart of a great city. Some nights he would hear scraps of conversations at rare intervals. A name he used to build up in his mind, identities for the owners of the names. One in particular, Peggy, gave him much food for thought. He pictured her as bright and vivacious. This was because she sang sometimes as she passed his door. She had been singing when he first heard her name. "Oh, cut it out, Peggy," a girl's voice had said. "Don't you get enough of that tune at the theater?" He felt that he would like to meet Peggy. June came and July, making an oven of New York, bringing close scorching days and nights, when the pen seemed made of lead, and still Rutherford worked on, sipping ice water in his shirt sleeves and filling the sheets of paper slowly, but with a dogged persistence which the weather could not kill despite the heat. He was cheerful. Things were beginning to run his way a little now. A novelette, an airy trifle, conceived in days when the thermometer was lower, and it was possible to think and worked out almost mechanically, had been accepted by a magazine of a higher standing than those which hitherto had shown him hospitality. He began to dream of a holiday in the woods. The holiday spirit was abroad. Alcala was emptying itself. It would not be long before he too would be able to get away. He was so deep in his thoughts that at first he did not hear the knocking at the door, but it was a sharp, insistent knocking, and forced itself upon his attention. He got up and turned the handle. Outside in the passage was standing a girl, tall and sleep-eyed. She wore a picture hat and a costume the keynote of which was a certain aggressive attractiveness. There was no room for doubt as to which particular brand of scent was her favorite at the moment. She gazed at Rutherford dully, like Banquo's ghost. She had no speculation in her eyes. Rutherford looked at her inquiringly, somewhat conscious of his shirt sleeves. "Did you knock?" he said, opening, as a man must do, with the inevitable foolish question. The apparition spoke. "Say," she said, "got a cigarette?" "I'm afraid I haven't," said Rutherford apologetically. "I've been smoking a pipe. I am very sorry." "What?" said the apparition. "I am afraid I haven't." "Oh," a pause. "Say, got a cigarette?" The intellectual pressure of the conversation was beginning to be a little too much for Rutherford. Combined with the heat of the night, it made his head swim. His visitor advanced into the room. Arriving at the table, she began fiddling with its contents. The pen seemed to fascinate her. She picked it up and inspected it closely. "Say, what do you call this?" she said. "That's a pen," said Rutherford soothingly, "a fountain pen." "Oh," a pause. "Say, got a cigarette?" Rutherford clutched a chair with one hand, and his forehead with the other. He was in sore straits. At this moment rescue arrived not before it was needed. A brisk sound of footsteps in the passage, and there appeared in the doorway a second girl. "What do you think you're doing?" Gladys demanded the newcomer. "You mustn't come butting into folks' rooms this way. Who's your friend?" "My name is Maxwell," began Rutherford eagerly. "What say, Peggy?" said the seeker, after cigarettes dropping a sheet of manuscript to the floor. Rutherford looked at the girl in the doorway with interest. So this was Peggy. She was little and trim of figure. That was how he had always imagined her. Her dress was simpler than the others. The face beneath the picture hat was small and well-shaped. The nose, delicately tip-tilted, the chin determined, the mouth a little wide, and suggesting good humor. A pair of grey eyes looked steadily into his before transferring themselves to the statuesque being at the table. "Don't monkey with the man's inkwell, Gladys. Come along up to bed." "What say, got a cigarette?" "There's plenty upstairs. Come along." The other went with perfect docility at the door. She paused and inspected Rutherford with a grave stare. "Good night, boy," she said with haughty condescension. "Good night," said Rutherford. "Pleased to have met you. Good night." "Good night," said Rutherford. "Good night." "Come along, Gladys," said Peggy firmly. Gladys went. Rutherford sat down and dabbed his forehead with his handkerchief, feeling a little weak. He was not used to visitors.